Chosen one, listen carefully, because what you are hearing right now is not an accident, a coincidence, or a moment of curiosity. Heaven has summoned you. God has drawn you into this moment with deliberate intention, with a purpose so precise that even the enemy felt the shift before you did. You are here because something in the spirit realm has been activated. Something is moving. Something is stirring. Something is aligning. Something is breaking open over your life in a way you have not seen before. This is not a normal message. This is a divine interruption. You didn't find this word. This word found you. God positioned you to hear this at the exact second your spirit was ready, the exact moment your heart could receive it, and the exact point in time when heaven decided enough was enough. You are not watching because you are curious. You are here because eternity touched your timeline and redirected your steps. Every delay, every distraction, every obstacle that tried to keep you from this moment was dismantled by the hand of God, so you would not miss what He's releasing over you right now. Chosen one, heaven has been watching you. Long before your mind knew you would be here, long before your emotions were prepared, long before your understanding caught up, God saw this moment. He saw the battles you've been walking through quietly. He saw the weight you've been carrying silently. He saw the questions you asked in private, the prayers you whispered when no one else knew what you were facing, and the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed. And now, with sharp authority and undeniable clarity, God is speaking directly into your spirit. You've been feeling something lately, an unexplainable pressure, a heaviness you couldn't name, a shift you couldn't describe, a spiritual pull you couldn't ignore. You've been sensing that something is coming, but you couldn't articulate what it was. And the reason is simple. You were stepping into a divine summons. Heaven has been calling your name. God has been stirring your spirit. Angels have been moving around your life, preparing you for a word that would realign your identity, awaken your authority, and position you for what comes next. The battles you faced were not random. The resistance was not accidental. The warfare around you has been unusually targeted because heaven marked you for something extraordinary. Darkness has been trying to distract you, derail you, and drain you because the enemy sensed what you were approaching before you did. But hear this clearly. The fact that you are here right now is proof that the enemy failed. You were not supposed to give up. You were not supposed to break under pressure. You were not supposed to stay stuck. You were always meant to reach this moment, because this moment carries revelation designed only for you. God brought you here to tell you something that will shift the atmosphere around your life. He is about to expose why the battle intensified, why the air around your spirit felt heavy, and why the last few weeks, or even months, felt spiritually strange. You've been walking through a divine doorway without knowing it. The shaking around you was not destruction. It was alignment. The pressure was not punishment. It was preparation. Heaven has been rearranging things behind the scenes to make room for what He is about to release into your life. And now, God says, "My child, listen with your spirit, because what I am about to reveal is for you and only you." Chosen one, heaven has been leaning in your direction. There is a reason God refused to let your heart settle for less. There is a reason He disrupted connections that were secretly draining you. There is a reason He made you restless in environments that could not carry your calling. There is a reason He removed you from circles that were too small for the anointing you carry. You thought some of these disconnections were painful, but heaven saw them as protection. God has been guarding you like a treasure, because He is preparing to reveal something through you that darkness cannot stop. You have felt overlooked, but heaven has been studying you. You have felt forgotten, but angels have been assigned to you. You have felt tired, but God has been strengthening you in ways you don't even recognize yet. You've been asking for clarity, and God says, "I brought you here to give you the answer." This message is your confirmation. This moment is your divine appointment. Your steps were ordered here because heaven is ready to speak. The atmosphere around your life is shifting even as you listen. Your spirit is responding. Your heart is awakening. And the weight on your shoulders is beginning to lift. What you are feeling is not emotion. It is activation. The Spirit of God is stirring something deep within you that has been waiting to rise. You have been chosen not because you are perfect, not because you have it all together, not because you're the strongest, but because you carry something heaven has planted, something hell fears. Right now, heaven is saying, "My child, I've seen your endurance. I have heard your quiet prayers. I have watched you stand when everything pushed you to fall. I have seen you press through battles that no one else understood. I have seen you walk through storms that would have broken others. And now, because you stayed, because you believe, because you refuse to quit, I am speaking directly to your soul. Chosen one, you are not just listening to a message. You are stepping into a revelation. Heaven has opened its mouth, and your spirit is receiving an impartation. That is why you feel this so deeply. That is why every word hits your soul with weight. That is why your heart feels like it is waking up. You are hearing heaven's response to everything you have endured. This is your divine summons. This is God pulling you into alignment. This is heaven confirming that what you feel is real, that what you sense is true, and that what you've been waiting for is closer than it has ever been. You have not missed your moment. You have not fallen behind. You have not been forgotten. You are exactly where God needs you to be, hearing exactly what He needs you to hear. Chosen one, God is about to reveal what comes next. Stay with me. Your spirit is about to receive the clarity you prayed for. Chosen one, now that your spirit is awake and present, listen closely, because heaven is about to reveal why the warfare around your life has been so intense. What you have been walking through is never ordinary. The pressure you felt, the delays you faced, the moments where everything seemed to fall apart at once. None of it was random. None of it was accidental. None of it was punishment. You have been in a spiritual battle that has been targeting not your weakness, but your destiny. The reason the warfare felt personal is because it was personal. For a long time you wondered, why me? Why does it feel like life hits me harder than others? Why do I carry battles no one else sees? Why does it seem like every time I get close to breakthrough, something pushes me back? You question yourself. You question your strength. You question your calling. At times, you even question whether God still heard you. But hear this clearly. Heaven never abandoned you. God never left you. You were not being punished. You were being forged. Every struggle was shaping you. Every delay was positioning you. Every storm was refining you into someone hell fear would emerge. You went through seasons where you felt alone, even in a room full of people. Moments where you were surrounded yet deeply isolated inside yourself. You felt misunderstood, overlooked, unheard, invisible. There were times when the weight on your spirit was so heavy that you wondered how you were still standing. You didn't have the words to explain it. You didn't know how to describe it. You just knew something was happening to you. Something spiritual, something internal, something intense. And that intensity was the mark of someone heaven had chosen. Many people around you never knew the battles you were fighting in silence. They saw your smile, but not your struggle. They heard your voice, but not your pain. They saw your strength, but not the nights you broke down quietly. They didn't know the mental warfare you were battling, the emotional weight you carried, the spiritual pressure that tried to suffocate your identity. But God knew. Heaven saw every moment. Nothing you endured went unnoticed by the one who called you. The struggle you've been facing was spiritual long before it ever became emotional or physical. Darkness recognized your potential before you did. Hell detected your anointing before you understood your destiny. And because of that, the enemy launched attacks designed to tire you, confuse you, distract you, and break you before you could step into a version of yourself that heaven has been preparing. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you carry something powerful, something threatening, something dangerous to darkness. Think back over your life, the patterns you noticed, the cycles that repeated, the constant feeling of being fought from every direction. Those were not coincidences. Those were indicators, signs, spiritual evidence that the battle was never about your present. It was about your future. The enemy saw what you could become. He saw the authority you would walk in. He saw the strength you would carry. He saw the calling on your name. And because he knew he couldn't stop what heaven ordained, he tried to stop you from discovering it. There were seasons where everything you touched seemed to fall apart. Relationships that turned into wounds. Opportunities that slipped away unexpectedly. People you trusted who suddenly shifted, betrayed you, or walked away. Doors that stayed shut even when you had done everything right. Delays that made no sense. Setbacks that hit without warning. You thought these things were happening to break you, but they were happening to build you. God allowed certain things to collapse because they were too small for the version of you that was emerging. Every disappointment carved strength into your spirit. Every heartbreak created room for wisdom. Every loss refined your discernment. Every betrayal sharpened your intuition. You were not losing. You were learning. You were not failing. You were being equipped. Heaven was shaping you into someone who could not be manipulated again, who could not be deceived again, who could not be spiritually blinded again. You were developing eyes that see, a spirit that knows, and a heart that discerns. The loneliness you went through was intentional. God separated you from certain people because their presence was blocking your elevation. You try to hold on to connections that were draining your anointing, people who were tied to your history, but not your destiny. So God removed what you didn't have the strength to walk away from. The isolation you felt was not abandonment. It was transformation. You were in a spiritual cocoon where God was reconstructing your identity from the inside out. The delays you experienced were not denials. They were divine timing. Heaven was holding certain things back until your spirit matured enough to carry them. God wasn't saying no. He was saying not yet. Because if he had given you what you prayed for when you first asked for it, the old version of you would have wasted it, mishandled it, or damaged it. The delay was protection. The waiting was preparation. The battles that came out of nowhere, the sudden storms, the unexpected heaviness. Those were spiritual confrontations. Hell tried to wear you down because the enemy knew you were getting close to awakening. The enemy targeted your mind because your thoughts shape your reality. He targeted your emotions because your feelings influence your faith. He targeted your relationships because your connections determine your direction. He targeted your peace because peace is the atmosphere where revelation flows. He targeted your identity because identity is the foundation of calling. But here's the part hell didn't see coming. Everything the enemy used to break you ended up building you. The fire made you stronger. The pressure made you sharper. The storms made you wiser. The isolation made you aware. The disappointments made you resilient. The tears watered the seeds of your future. What was meant to destroy you actually prepared you for divine elevation. Heaven allowed the warfare not to crush you, but to reveal you. God was not punishing you. He was purifying you. He was removing every fear that would have held you back. He was dismantling every illusion that distorted your identity. He was uprooting every insecurity that weakened your authority. And what you didn't realize is that every time you refused to give up, every time you chose faith over fear, every time you pushed through when you felt empty, every time you kept going when you wanted to stop, you were growing spiritually. This is why the battle was so long. This is why the pressure was so heavy. This is why the warfare was so personal. Because heaven was preparing you for a version of yourself that the enemy hoped you would never become. But chosen one, you endured. You stayed. You survived. And now the struggle is shifting. The battle is losing its grip. The cycle is weakening. The spiritual reason behind your suffering is being exposed, and heaven is preparing to announce what comes next. You may not even realize it yet, but something inside you has shifted so deeply, so quietly, so profoundly, that the battles that once clung to you no longer recognize who you are becoming. There was a time when the enemy targeted you because of your weakness, but now he retreats because of your strength. The warfare didn't end because the pressure stopped. It ended because you stopped responding the way you used to. Your spirit matured. Your discernment sharpened. Your heart grew wiser. And now heaven is announcing a turning point that has nothing to do with what changed around you, everything to do with what changed within you. For a long time, you prayed for God to remove the storm. But what you didn't see was that the storm was shaping the version of you that the next season requires. You thought you were being broken, but you were actually being built. You thought God was silent, but he was upgrading the frequency of your spirit. You thought you were stuck, but heaven saw you being strengthened. There's a version of you emerging now who refuses to settle where you used to settle, who refuses to shrink where you used to shrink, who refuses to tolerate what once drained your soul. You outgrew the cycle, and that's why the cycle is ending. The battle ends when the lesson takes root. And whether you knew it or not, you've been learning in silence, transforming in the shadows, expanding in places even you didn't notice. The enemy hoped the pressure would break you. Instead, it broke off the old version of you, the version that doubted, the version that feared, the version that felt unworthy, the version that apologized for being chosen. That version can no longer survive in the place where God is taking you. You have stepped into awareness of who you are, awareness of what you carry, awareness of what you will no longer accept. There was a shift the moment you stopped chasing validation from people who couldn't see your calling. There was a shift the moment you stopped begging doors to open that would have suffocated your destiny. There was a shift the moment you realized some delays were actually divine detours protecting your purpose. You didn't just survive the storm, you discovered yourself in it. And now the atmosphere around your life has no choice but to adjust. Darkness loses its grip when you recognize the authority you carry. Cycles fall apart when you refuse to participate in what drains you. Old seasons can't hold you when your spirit has already moved forward. This is why heaven is saying, it ends soon. Not because the external circumstances suddenly change, but because you change the internal posture. You are not reacting from fear anymore. You are responding from strength. You're not operating from insecurity. You're standing in identity. You're not viewing your life from pain. You're interpreting it through purpose. The enemy attacks the most vulnerable version of you, yet that version is gone. You healed in places you once avoided. You release what you once held tightly. You surrender what you once fought to control. Healing is the loudest signal to the spirit realm that a cycle has expired. You may not see the full breakthrough yet, but heaven has already shifted the timeline. God ends warfare the moment the assignment of the battle is complete. And the assignment was never to destroy you, it was to transform you. Now that transformation is taking place, the warfare is losing its legal right to remain. You are stepping into spiritual authority that you didn't have in previous seasons. You are becoming the person who can steward the blessings you once prayed for but weren't yet ready to hold. This is why the pressure increased, because God knew your potential long before you did. People may think you're quiet, withdrawn, or distant in this season, but what they don't understand is that your silence is not emptiness. It's elevation. You're being positioned, aligned, recalibrated. God is separating you not because you're alone, but because you are being prepared. You are stepping into a maturity that doesn't need to announce itself. Heaven sees it. The enemy sees it. And soon, everyone connected to your destiny will see it too. This is the moment in a chosen one's life when heaven begins to reassign angels, redirect paths, and accelerate divine timing. It happens when your character reaches a level where the blessings can no longer be delayed, not because you demanded it, but because you grew into it. You are shedding the last fragments of the version of you that was tied to fear, people-pleasing, self-doubt, and overthinking. You are recognizing your worth, not as the world defines it, but as heaven ordained it. Your spirit has become too strong for the battles that once tormented you. You no longer collapse under pressure the way you used to. You no longer give up the moment things get difficult. You no longer internalize rejection or confusion. You have stopped interpreting delays as denial. You have stopped questioning whether you are chosen. You have stopped letting the enemy narrate your identity. These are signs that the battle is nearing its end. Everything that once triggered you is losing its power. Everything that once intimidated you is losing its size. Everything that once overwhelmed you is losing its influence. Because you have risen, you have awakened, you have stepped into spiritual adulthood. And once you reach this place, heaven begins to release what was held back, not as punishment, but as protection. You are entering a season where things will begin to align not because the path became easy, but because you became ready. God is saying, I am ending what once drained you. I am closing the doors that hurt you. I am removing the people who could not walk with you. I am silencing the voices that confuse you. I am lifting the burdens that were never yours, not because they suddenly disappeared, but because you finally stepped into the version of yourself who can no longer carry what was never meant for you. You changed, and heaven responded. You grew, and the warfare weakened. You awakened, and the chains broke. You matured, and the cycle expired. The battle ends soon, because the one fighting it is no longer the same. Your tomorrow is not a date on a calendar. It is a spiritual moment in time when everything God promised begins to make sense. It is the moment when the weight you've carried for years begins to lift. The moment when what felt impossible suddenly feels within reach. The moment when clarity replaces confusion, peace replaces fear, and direction replaces wandering. God has been preparing a tomorrow for you. A season, a shift, a divine unfolding. And you are closer to stepping into it than you realize. Your tomorrow is already forming around you, even if you can't see it yet. Heaven has been putting things in place quietly, subtly, intentionally, and in a way that aligns perfectly with who you are becoming. You walk through long nights, long battles, long seasons of uncertainty, but none of it was wasted. Every tear you cried watered the seeds of your next season. Every prayer you whispered in exhaustion became the foundation of the future God is building for you. Every closed door redirected you towards something more stable, more protected, and more aligned than you could have imagined. Tomorrow is the manifestation of everything that felt delayed, but was actually being developed. It is the moment when God reveals why the wait had to be this long, why the journey had to be this difficult, and why the pruning was necessary before the promise. Your tomorrow carries restoration. Restoration of peace, restoration of joy, restoration of identity. God is returning to you what life tried to take, what people tried to steal, and what the enemy tried to destroy. Not in the same form, but in a higher, healed, elevated version. You are stepping into a season where what was broken is rebuilt stronger, what was lost is replaced better, what was taken is returned multiplied. God is rewriting your story with the ink of healing and the brush of purpose. If you could see what is planned, you would understand why the battle was so fierce. The enemy fights the hardest when tomorrow is near. Tomorrow is the season where clarity finally arrives. The fog that has clouded your vision will begin to lift. The questions that haunted your mind will begin to answer themselves. The decisions that felt heavy will suddenly feel simple. God is going to illuminate your path in a way you have never experienced before. Things that once confused you will make sense. Things that once overwhelmed you will become manageable. You will be guided not by fear or uncertainty, but by wisdom, intuition, and divine revelation. God is releasing direction into your spirit so precise that you will know exactly where to go, what to release, who to trust, and what to pursue. In your tomorrow, You won't have to fight for every inch of progress the way you did in the past. The season you're entering is marked by grace. Grace that carries you further than effort ever could. Grace that opens doors you could never force open. Grace that places you in rooms your background never qualified you for. Grace that aligns opportunities without struggle, chaos, or confusion. You will walk into things that feel almost too smooth, too aligned, too easy, because this time you're moving with God, not against Him. This time your spirit is aligned, your heart is ready, and your foundation is strong. Tomorrow is the moment when connections shift. God is bringing people into your life who match your growth, not your past. People who will speak life, not doubt. People who will support your purpose, not drain your spirit. People who carry vision, integrity, and divine timing. The ones who left could not stay because they were not built for the version of you that God is shaping now. The ones who enter will feel like answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. God is preparing divine alignments, kingdom relationships, and purpose-driven partnerships that will push your destiny forward. Your tomorrow carries opportunities, real ones, meaningful ones, aligned ones. Doors that were once closed will begin to open, not because you knocked harder, but because heaven unlocked them. You will see sudden shifts, emails, calls, encounters, breakthroughs that seem to appear out of nowhere. But they did not appear from nowhere. They appeared from obedience, from endurance, from spiritual growth. God is about to reward what you thought no one saw. Heaven has been watching your consistency, your faith, your resilience. Now the harvest of that faithfulness begins. Tomorrow is not just about what God gives you. It's about who you become as you receive it. You are entering a season of confidence, not false confidence, not inflated pride, but holy confidence. The kind that comes from knowing who you are in God. The kind that silences insecurity and destroys fear. The kind that helps you walk boldly into rooms where you once felt small. The kind that allows you to speak with authority, even when your voice once trembled. The kind that makes you recognize that being chosen was never a burden. It was an invitation. And tomorrow comes with peace. Deep, steady, unshakable peace. Not the kind that comes from circumstances, but the kind that comes from alignment with God's will. Peace that guards your heart. Peace that anchors your mind. Peace that stabilizes your emotions. Peace that becomes your resting place. The war in your spirit is ending, and peace is taking its place. God is giving you a new atmosphere to live in, a new mindset to function from, a new emotional foundation to stand on. Everything that God is preparing in your tomorrow is intentional. Nothing is random. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is wasted. You are entering a chapter where God will show you why He allowed the delays, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, and the detours. You will look back and say, God, I see it now. I understand. You were protecting me. You were guiding me. You were shaping me for this. Your tomorrow is filled with purpose, filled with alignment, filled with divine timing. And you are closer than you think. The shift is happening in the unseen before it appears in the natural. Heaven has already begun your next chapter. Your spirit can feel it. Your heart knows it. And soon your eyes will witness it. Tomorrow is not coming. Tomorrow is already here. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe, because what is about to be spoken over your life is not just a prayer. It is a spiritual activation, a divine sealing of everything God has been preparing within you. You did not arrive here by accident. Something in your spirit was drawn to this moment, to this message, to this exact second in time, because heaven has aligned it for you. And as you listen, may your heart open, may your spirit rise, and may every word spoken now take root in the deepest places of your soul. Father, in the name of Jesus, I lift up the person listening right now. I pray that your presence will begin to settle over them like a gentle wind, calming every fear, silencing every storm, and reassuring every part of them that still feels uncertain. Wrap them in your peace, the kind that surpasses all understanding. Let their heart beat in sync with heaven. Let their mind align with your truth, and let their spirit rise into the fullness of who you created them to be. God, I speak breakthrough over every area of their life where they felt stuck, delayed, or forgotten. Break every chain that has lingered too long. Break every generational pattern that has chased them through seasons. Break every lie the enemy whispered in their moments of weakness. Break every invisible ceiling that tried to limit their growth. Break every internal voice that said they weren't enough. Today, I declare divine release. I declare supernatural acceleration. I declare renewed strength. What held them back will hold them no more. What confused them will confuse them no more. What drained them will drain them no more. Lord, touch their mind right now. Open their clarity. Remove every fog of confusion, every whisper of doubt, every fear that once felt louder than your promises. Give them eyes to see themselves the way heaven sees them, chosen, equipped, anointed, and divinely prepared. Let the thoughts that used to spiral into anxiety now spiral into revelation. Let the ideas you place within them rise to the surface. Let clarity flow like living water. From this moment on, let their decisions come from wisdom, not fear, from discernment, not pressure, from identity, not insecurity. God, touch their heart where they've been wounded. Heal where they've been disappointed. Restore where they've been betrayed. Strengthen where they've been overlooked. Elevate. Remind them that nothing they lost was necessary for their next season. Remind them that every person who walked away created space for someone heaven sent to arrive. Remind them that every closed door was a divine redirect, not a rejection. Heal the hidden places, the quiet hurts, the unspoken burdens. Let restoration begin now. Father, ignite their spirit. Wake up every dormant gift, every buried dream, every silenced purpose. Stir up the fire inside them again, the fire that adversity tried to extinguish, the fire that disappointment tried to drown, the fire that weariness tried to smother. Let their passion return. Let their vision sharpen. Let their boldness increase. Let their faith stand tall again. And let every attack that once threatened to break them now reveal the depth of their resilience. Lord, I declare divine protection over them. Surround them with angels assigned to their purpose. Shield them from every spiritual attack, every hidden trap, every unseen plot of the enemy. No weapon formed against them shall prosper, not in their mind, not in their spirit, not in their relationships, not in their finances, not in their calling. Seal them under your covering, and let every force that rises against them be turned back in confusion. Their life is protected. Their destiny is guarded. Their spirit is fortified. God, I speak alignment into every area of their life. Align them with the right people, those who uplift, support, and speak life into their purpose. Remove every counterfeit connection, every draining relationship, every distraction disguised as opportunity. Align their steps with your timing, not their frustration. Align their desires with your will, not their fear. Align their path with the doors you have ordained specifically for them. Let nothing pull them out of position. Let nothing delay what you have appointed. And Lord, now we speak victory. Victory over every battle they've been fighting in silence. Victory over every struggle they've been too tired to express. Victory over every internal war that has tried to steal their peace. Victory over the season that felt dark, heavy, and endless. Victory over the patterns that once controlled them. Victory in their purpose. Victory in their spirit. Victory in their mind. Victory in their future. Their season of defeat is over. Their season of victory begins now. God, let a fresh wind of hope fill them. Let them feel the shift in their spirit. Let them sense the weight lifting, the atmosphere changing, the breakthrough approaching. Let them know deep within that you are not just restoring what was lost. You are preparing something greater than they ever imagined. something stable, something purposeful, something blessed, something aligned, something holy, something theirs. I speak this final activation over their life. From this moment on, may they walk with divine confidence. May they rise with renewed authority. May they speak with boldness. May they love with discernment. May they move with intention. May they carry themselves as one chosen by God, guided by God, protected by God, and elevated by God. The version of them emerging now will not fail, will not fold, will not fall back. They are stepping into a season where heaven backs their steps, favor surrounds their name, and grace goes before their path. And if this message touched your spirit, if you felt God speaking directly to you, I want you to take a step of faith. Comment, amen, write your prayer, or share what resonated, not for engagement, but as a declaration that you are agreeing with heaven over your life. Subscribe so you don't miss the words God is sending into your next season. Share this with someone who needs the same breakthrough. When you act in faith, you activate what has been waiting for you. May this prayer follow you. May this activation strengthen you. And may God's hand never lift from your life. Amen.